Have you ever watched a squirrel bury an acorn and wondered what is actually happening in its head? Is it thinking about winter? Is it imagining a cold day when food will be hard to find? Or is it just following some deep instinct it does not fully understand? That question matters more than it sounds, because for a long time, scientists believed that thinking about the future was something only humans could do. We plan vacations, we save money, we pack an umbrella because it might rain tomorrow. That kind of thinking, they said, required imagination. It required a mind that could step outside the present moment and picture something that had not happened yet. Animals, they argued, simply could not do that. They lived inside the present. The past was gone and the future was invisible. Only we could bridge that gap. But the evidence is starting to change that story. And some of it is genuinely surprising. Let us start with a bird. Western scrub jays are birds known for hiding food to eat later. That part sounds simple enough. Many animals store food, but scrub jays do something more interesting. When a scrub jay hides food while another bird is watching, it will later come back and move that food to a completely new hiding spot. Here is the striking detail. They only do this if they themselves have stolen from other birds before. Birds with no experience of stealing do not bother. So the jay is not just reacting to the moment, it is imagining something that has not happened yet. It is thinking, someone might do to me what I once did to others. That is not instinct. That is something closer to foresight. And foresight, by any reasonable definition, is a form of thinking about the future. Now think about a chimpanzee. There is a chimp named Santino who lived in a Swedish zoo and had a habit of collecting stones in the early morning before the zoo opened, while he was perfectly calm. Later in the day, when visitors arrived and he grew agitated, he would hurl those stones at the crowd. He was not grabbing the stones in the heat of the moment. The gathering happened hours before the zoo opened, never when visitors were present, and never off season when no visitors came at all. He was preparing for a future emotional state he had not yet reached. He was planning for his own anger. Researchers describe this as evidence that chimpanzees consider the future in a very complex way, involving something close to mental simulations of events yet to come. That is not a creature running on pure instinct. That is a creature with something like a plan. But what about animals that seem less obviously intelligent? Take the squirrel. Squirrels hide food for future use across hundreds of separate locations. They assess the value of each food item, carry it carefully, and use memory strategies to protect their caches from rivals who might steal them. Research has shown that squirrels invest more time and effort hiding foods they judge more valuable, traveling farther, and taking greater precautions to protect what matters most. This is not random behavior. The squirrel is making decisions about a future it cannot see, but somehow anticipates. It does not know the date. It has no calendar. But something in its mind connects the present moment of abundance to a future moment of scarcity, and it acts accordingly. Ravens have been shown to plan for tool use and bartering, performing on a level that rivals great apes in flexible forward thinking. A raven can identify a problem, figure out it will need a specific tool to solve it, carry that tool to another location, and return with it later when the moment finally calls for it. It holds the future in mind the way you might hold a mental note to yourself. Now consider the great apes more broadly. Orangutans and bonobos have been observed selecting tools in one location and carrying them to a completely different location where they know those tools will be needed. They are not reacting to a problem in front of them. They are anticipating a problem that does not exist yet. Scientists who study this behavior suggest that planning of this kind likely evolved in the common ancestor of all great apes at least 14 million years ago. Long before humans arrived, something was already looking ahead. And then there are elephants. Elephants live long lives with deep social memories. They remember watering holes they have not visited in years. The oldest females in a herd guide their families across vast distances based on knowledge built over decades. They are not simply following a scent or reacting to thirst. They are drawing on something more like experience, a mental map formed from past journeys, used to navigate toward a future need. Whether that counts as consciously thinking about the future is still debated. But it is hard to watch an elephant leading her herd toward water she last visited 10 years ago and feel certain that nothing forward thinking is happening inside her. There is also evidence from much smaller creatures. Studies of rats indicate that animals may have a sense of the future and act accordingly. With mental time travel, the ability to remember past experiences and anticipate future ones, appearing in forms researchers did not expect to find outside of humans. Brain studies show that while a rat sits still, the part of its brain tied to memory and navigation replays possible future routes, as if the animal is rehearsing what comes next. It is almost like a rough draft of tomorrow's journey, written quietly in a resting brain. We barely give rats a second thought, but inside those small skulls, something is planning ahead. So where does that leave us? The honest answer is somewhere complicated. Scientists caution that before accepting any claim about animal planning, we have to carefully rule out simpler explanations, like conditioned habits, learned patterns, or automatic responses triggered by seasonal cues. Not every animal burying food is imagining winter. Some may simply be following a drive they do not consciously understand, the way you might reach for a glass of water without deciding to be thirsty. The stronger evidence comes from situations where animals act for future benefits that directly conflict with what they want right now. That is the real test. Can an animal do something that makes no sense in this moment, but will make sense later? The scrub jay that is fully fed but still caches food for tomorrow passes that test. The chimp who stockpiles rocks while calm for an anger that has not yet arrived passes that test. The raven carrying a tool it cannot use until it reaches a place it has not reached yet passes that test too. These are not creatures simply reacting to the world as it is. They are, in some way, reacting to a world they expect. And that changes something in how we might think about them. We tend to believe the future is our territory. Planning, worrying, hoping, preparing, these feel like deeply human activities. They are things we do at kitchen tables, and in offices, and in quiet moments before sleep. But the scrub jay hiding food where no rival was watching, the chimpanzee at dawn quietly collecting his stones, the elephant following a memory across a dry and dusty plain, they are all doing something in the same neighborhood. They may not see years ahead. They may not worry about next month or next year. But tomorrow, or the next few hours, or the cold season coming, that much seems to live somewhere in their minds. The real question may not be whether animals think about the future. The real question may be how far ahead they can see and what it feels like from the inside. That part, we still do not know. And maybe that is the most honest thing science has said about animals in a long time.